More than 2.5 million Australians now live in an apartment, and over the next decade that number is set to soar. While governments are sweeping away planning controls to boost the number of apartments in our capital cities, the multi-billion-dollar strata industry, which is supposed to protect homeowners' interests, is cashing in. Investigative reporter Linton Besser joins us in the studio now with the details. Hi Linton. So when you put the feelers out for this story, you received quite the response. Tell us about that.
Thousands of emails. And as you know, Ros, as a journalist, normally it's only a small fraction that are credentialed. In this case, 99% of these thousands of submissions were documented and had credence, really. And they complained about an industry that is meant to be there to act in the interests of owners in trying to balance the books and look after common property and find insurance for their buildings. And instead, what a lot of people unfortunately are finding is that they're being exploited by an industry that in many states and territories is completely unregulated, with hidden and exorbitant charges and secret deals for kickbacks from contractors and other service providers. It came across like the Wild West.
So the story airs tonight, Linton. Already, though, there are calls from the ACCC for a ban on strata insurance commissions. What's happening there?
Well, for a long time, strata companies and insurance brokers have been copping a kickback, a commission, whenever they place insurance on behalf of the people instructing them, the owners of these strata titles. And that's been fairly controversial anyway. What we find and what you'll see tonight in the Four Corners episode is that in addition to that, big insurance companies are forming joint ventures with strata managers, many of which are very opaque, to also receive further fees and a share of profits and broker fees and things like that. Now, the ACCC, the chair, Gina Cass-Gottlieb, the competition watchdog, says commissions must end. They are driving up the cost of insurance and they are incentivising strata managers to act against the interests of their clients.
And the New South Wales Strata and Property Services Commissioner, John Minns, has been stood aside. Why?
We interviewed him a short time ago. It was 10 days or 2 weeks ago. And unfortunately for John Minns, we discovered, despite a public pledge that he had sold out of his interest in a major real estate and strata services firm, he had not. His family trust had continued to own $750,000 interest in that company. Following that interview, he was stood aside pending an investigation, which is now underway.
So 2.5 million Australians live in apartments. That number is set to soar. What sort of regulation do we need?
Well, we need some, first of all. There are lots of states and territories in Australia where there is none whatever, no licensing regime, no regulator. Gina Cass-Gottlieb from the ACCC says insurance commissions need to end, but I think taking a step back and looking at the poor regulation or the zero regulation in a lot of states, there's got to be a bit of interest from government, at point dot, and saying, well, let's take a look at what these firms are doing.
So what can people who live in apartments now, though, do to protect themselves?
Be vigilant is the answer. And I've been asking that question, Ros, of people I've been interviewing, and they say you've got to watch your own back and read the financials. Take an interest.
Thanks, Linton. And you can catch the full episode of Four Corners tonight at 8:30 Eastern on ABC TV or anytime on ABC iView.